Well, hello. Hey, we're out on the 1977 Triumph Bonneville T140v, and I just wanted to show you guys that the bike, after all that work, actually runs really well. So for those of you that are maybe seeing this video for the first time, you won't know, but we've done a lot of work to this bike. We started off when we first got the bike a number of months ago by fixing the oil leak on the rocker cover by changing the O-ring there. We did that, and then we moved on to other things. When we first got the bike, it was blowing huge amounts of blue smoke, and as it turned out, it was a wet sumping problem with nothing wrong with the engine. The engine's got really good compression and did a leak down test on it's really good, but the oil pump that was in it wasn't pumping the oil away fast enough, and as a consequence the sump was just, you know, filling up with oil. So we put a new Murgo oil pump in it, and that solved that. And the bike wasn't really running very darn good either, so you know, we looked at that issue, and that we pretty much figured it was a carburation problem. So we took the carbs off, and sure enough, the carbs, both of the slides on the carbs were either stuck or really sticky. So we worked on those carbs like crazy. I knew all along I'd probably have to buy new carbs for this bike. The previous owner, we're going to slow down here. This is a major swimming spot, and a lot of times kids are jumping off the bridge because of the heat. Hey, look at that, they are today too. Let's stop talking motorcycles and take a look at the kids for half a sec. There's the river, and kids gonna jump off the bridge there. It looks like a great day. So anyways, we took those carburetors off, fixed the slides using toothpaste, crust toothpaste, which of course is a very mild abrasive, and we essentially use it almost like a cut polish, or, well, to say it was a valve grind would be overstated, but it's essentially the same kind of process to try to get those slides to stop sticking in a very gentle way, and sure enough, that worked really, really well. So actually the bike ran a lot better after we did that job, but it still wasn't quite right because, you know, it was still inevitably leaking air on the slides, because although we stopped them from sticking, they were still scored up pretty good, and they were definitely sucking air, so the bike was running really rich. So pulled the trigger and bought some new Amel carbs for it. That's what's on it now, and as you can see, she is running really, really well on those new Amel carburetors. Yeah, and the bike is just a dream to ride, I got to tell you. Other things we did, we then kind of moved on to other issues the bike had. It had numerous electrical faults, as I guess is pretty typical for a British bike, or anything British for that matter. I've got a British car too, and it's the same deal. Anything Lucas. So the kill switch wasn't working. We troubleshooted that and fixed that up. I didn't want to ride the bike a lot without a proper kill switch on the handlebar, and so we got the old kill switch to work, and then we worked on the brake switch, and had to do some innovative work on that because the old brake switch really could not be saved, shall we say. Incredibly poor Lucas design. So what we did is, it was a little sacrilege. If you watch that one, that video, I actually put a Honda brake light on the bar here. So actually on the brake lever, there's a Honda switch there, and that worked out amazingly well. And it's the great thing about that is if it ever dies, it's going to be a part that we can easily source from wherever. So yeah, so people are definitely out enjoying the sunshine today. In case you're wondering where we're at here, this is we're out in Pitt Meadows, and a very extensive dike system here. The mountains immediately in front of us, well, not the lower ones at here, but the ones at the very, very back there is one side of the Golden Ears Mountains. But yeah, beautiful area. If you eat blueberries anywhere in the world, you've probably eaten blueberries from this region. This is the largest blueberry growing area in the world. You can see there's some of the blueberry plants. There's just a few, but there's blueberry plants everywhere here. Yeah, fabulous blueberries. Blueberries are supposed to be crazy good for you, so yeah, even I like them. But anyways, getting back to motorcycling, after we got the electrical stuff fixed and the bike working mechanically well, then we moved on to, call it, creature comforts. And one of the things that I wasn't happy about was that the clutch lever here was like crazy hard to pull. Like, it was stupid hard. And I looked online, and apparently this is just the way these crazy clutches are. And yeah, anyways, but anyways, I wanted to do something about it. And then as I was pondering that, lo and behold, I took the bike out for a run one day. Ran great, just like she's running right now. I took it home, put it in the garage, put it away. Everything was fine. Went to go and take it out the very next day for another ride, and the darn clutch was stuck, and it was stuck so bad I couldn't get it apart. So there's a whole video on that where I take the clutch apart and find out why she was sticking. Turned out it was just incredibly poorly adjusted. The clutch springs were so loose it wasn't even funny, and it definitely didn't rattle loose. It was definitely put together. You know, whoever worked on it did that, and I suspect they may have done it for the same thing I was trying to solve, which was the fact the lever is so darn tight. So anyways, I did again a bunch of checking around and got a lot of comments from you guys on that stuck clutch video. A lot of really great comments and feedback. I really appreciate all the great advice. More blueberry plants, by the way. Look at them all. Tons of them. So anyways, I decided to go with a 7-disc clutch. Normally, of course, this bike uses a 6-disc clutch, but we went with a 7-disc clutch mod. And anyways, that made a huge difference. I put an Airco clutch mod on it, Airco clutch, and it's very, very similar to the Hyde. I know a lot of guys said get the Hyde because it's the best, but I'm on the west coast of British Columbia here, and I could have got it, but I would have had to wait, 3+ weeks for it to get shipped from the UK, and I was frankly impatient. And apparently a lot of the guys here in North America swore by the Airco and said it was very similar to the Hyde, so I thought, what the hell, I'll go with that. So anyways, that's what we did with that, and it made a huge difference. When I did that job, I wanted it not to be anecdotally better, like me just telling you that it's better. I wanted to measure it before and after. So I used I had an old 100-year-old scale my grandfather gave me, or I inherited, and I put that scale onto the clutch lever here, an old fish scale, and it took over 43 pounds of pressure to pull that clutch. So could I do it? Yeah, I could do it, but it wasn't fun, not for any period of time. It just wasn't fun. So when he was with the Airco clutch, it now only takes about 17 pounds of pressure to pull it. So it's still not like a really like a modern, very easy, hydraulic clutch, but it's not hydraulic. It is what it is, but it's way better. It's almost 2.5 times better than what it was. Makes a huge bonus. So anyways, those are just some of the things that we did on the bike. And so anyways, I wanted to take you guys for a ride and yeah, so I could tell you a little bit about it and show you that the bike actually runs. Okay, so we're going to try this with our visor open a little bit and see what that does to the sound. But let me tell you, this bike is fantastic to ride. You know, I used to have a cruiser style motorcycle. You know, think Harley, but it wasn't a Harley, it was a Yamaha. And, you know, it was fun to ride. I had it for about a decade and it was good. But, you know, they're just not terribly maneuverable, those bikes. And I actually got myself, I used to have dirt bikes and I kind of missed that. So I got myself a KLX 250, something dead there. I got myself a KLX 250 and that's amazing. I mean, it's just totally flickable, and you can just, you know, maneuver it any which way, and really great. But I want something with a bit more power, and of course I like projects. I like tinkering with stuff, and so anyways, that's where I picked up this old Triumph. And let me tell you, it's really a cross between my enduro bike and my my old, you know, my old sort of cruiser style bike. Oh, I think we'll go straight rather than going down there. Let me guess. A load of blueberries. You bet. So anyways, just getting back to it, yeah, it really is a cross between, you know, the feel of an enduro bicycle and how light and nimble that is, and a cruiser bike, like kind of like a Harley. And frankly, it's just a great mix of both, because you've got all the power, and yet it feels like a light bike. I know it's not a ridiculously light bike, but it just feels really light, and it you know, it just maneuvers very, very easily. You know, one of the other things I forgot to mention on some of the things that we did when working on the bike was, with the creature comforts, was to put new handlebars on the bike, and that really made a difference as well. When I got the bike, it had the original UK spec handlebars, which I gotta say look a lot cooler on the bike than these ones do. They look a lot cooler, but you know, I'm not an old guy, but let's just say I'm moving in that direction, and I didn't want to I just didn't want to be in that riding position, kind of hunched over all the time. So those 8-inch bars that I've got on there now really make a difference. It makes it a lot nicer to ride the bike. So maybe some reasons why you would want to own an old Triumph motorcycle. Well, first off, I wouldn't recommend it for those that don't want to do work on their motorcycle. In my view, and I think in the view of a lot of motorcycling guys, working on the bike is part of the experience. But if you're not one of those people that wants to tinker with things, and you know, is not going to want to, and I'm not just talking about maintenance, I mean things that might happen, shall we say, whether it be electrical stuff or mechanical stuff or what have you. If you find that daunting, a vintage Triumph is probably not for you. Not that they're not very reliable bikes, they are. I don't want to give that impression, but they do require more care and handling than other bikes. Now for me, that is just a plus. In fact, I purposely bought a bike that had a lot of problems because I wanted to work on it. And you know, this is the bonus you get after you work on it, is that kind of experience. Anyways, that's one thing. Why else would you want a Triumph motorcycle? Man, they are cool. They are cool. I mean, I have a Triumph car too, and it gets a lot of looks, but this gets a lot of looks as well, and people just want to stop and talk to you about the bike. So again, if you're not a sociable person, if you don't want to ever talk to people, if you don't want people coming up to you and talking to you about their Triumph, about your Triumph motorcycle, then again, this bike is probably not for you. Conversely, if you enjoy that sort of thing as I do, that's a real good reason to get one, because people love this thing. They love Triumph bikes, and you'll find that out if you own one. Why else? Well, you know, it was a simpler time back there, and it was a simpler bike, and there's just something to be said of riding a classic vintage bike. You know, there's something to be said for it. And well, we got a stop light here. I do remember now, and there's not supposed to be a stop light here. This is temporary, but apparently a culvert got washed out here. You'd never guess it in this blue sunshine, but anyways, that's what's going on here. So but in any event, but yeah, why else would maybe you want a Triumph motorcycle? Well, you know, for us here in where I live on the west coast of Canada in British Columbia, you can get collector plates, and collector plates mean that you can get really reasonable insurance on things that are old, more than 25 years old, and in really good condition. And this qualifies on both. I've collector plates on this, and as a result, you know, the insurance is very minuscule on the bike. So, you know, that's another thing about it, is, you know, owning a classic bike relative to a newer bike may be of significant savings to do that. And certainly you know, Triumph is near the top of a lot of people's lists of bikes that they'd want, you know, Triumphs, Nortons, etc. The other thing, you know, and obviously Nortons are really great too. Maybe one day I'll own one. But in this market anyways, they are a lot more money. You know, a classic Triumph than a classic, a classic Norton versus a classic Triumph. You can pick up a classic Triumph for, you know, especially if it needs work, for not a huge amount of money. You know, in every market it's going to be different, so I won't talk numbers. Just, you can look it up yourself. You'll see what I mean. They can be picked up pretty reasonably if you look around a little bit. And the other thing about it is, you know, all of us, especially us older guys, are thinking more and more about retirement and putting money away for retirement and these sorts of things. So none of us want to flitter our money away. But, you know, the great thing about owning a classic Triumph is it does not go down in value. In fact, if you buy one that needs a bit of work and you get her running, you're going to almost assuredly break even, if not make a little bit of money. And if you keep it for any amount of time, it absolutely will appreciate. There's no question about that. So those are the things, a few reasons why I think, you know, owning a Triumph motorcycle is a really great idea, and would highly recommend it. And not only that, man, it is just plain cool. It is just cool. So anyways, I think we're going to wrap it up here, guys. I just wanted to give you this little update on the Triumph. I would have done a riding video a long time ago, but I didn't have the necessary equipment to do it. Truth be known, I've made this same video about 5 times, and each time you couldn't hear the audio, so I'm kind of hopeful that the audio sounds good. In fact, actually, if you wouldn't mind leaving me a comment, the first half of this video I did it with my visor closed, sort of an enclosed helmet wearing, and in the second half I've got the helmet cracked a little bit open, so I'd appreciate comments on which you think is better. And if you've got any other tips for me on doing riding videos, please feel free to share the info. I'd greatly appreciate it. I call out right now to a gentleman whose videos I watch quite a bit, Songs from the Saddle. I can't, you know, if you haven't seen his channel, man, please go look at it. It's fantastic. And he did one video just on nothing but his camera setup, and not doing exactly what he's doing, but something similar to that. And I learned a lot from watching his videos. So yeah, if you haven't seen his channel, definitely check it out. Anyways, guys, as mentioned, we're going to wrap this one up here. If I do much more riding, we're going to be facing the sun. Probably not ideal. So please do subscribe. I could really use the subscribers. And to all those that have subscribed, I know a lot of you guys watching have. I really, really appreciate it. Can't thank you enough. The other thing, please leave a comment. I appreciate all the comments and the feedback for my repair videos especially. I really appreciate you guys giving me hints and tricks and telling me what to do, and sometimes even correcting me, saying, hey, you did this wrong, and then I'll go back and redo it. And you guys know who you are. I can't thank you enough for that. So please leave me a comment, and my commitment to you is that I will reply back to you personally. I read and I reply back to every comment, and I greatly appreciate them. Okay, guys, that's it for now. We'll just close this one out with a little bit of sound. We'll drive for a little bit farther with the Triumph without me chattering away, and we'll wrap it up from here. So keep the rubber side down, guys, and enjoy the evening.